Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here to interview you for the Jewish DP project. So I'm first going to ask you to tell us your name.
My name is Garson, Brent Speigel.
Okay. And what town were you originally from?
I'm from Poland. The town's name is Pultusk.
Pultus. Can you spell that for me?
P-U-L. I gotta write it down.
No, it's okay.
Pultusk.
Pultusk.
Yeah, Pultusk. It's near Warsaw. It's about 56 kilometers from Warsaw.
Okay. And the household you grew up with, tell me a little bit about your parents, their names, your brothers and sisters.
Well, I had a father and mother with 7 kids, 7 children. I was the oldest one.
Yes. And how many brothers, how many sisters?
I got 3 brothers and 4 sisters. One didn't survive. She died in Russia, the youngest one.
So you had 6 that survived?
6 survived.
Okay.
They live in Philadelphia.
All 6 live in Philadelphia?
No, only one just moved a couple of years ago. He moved to Long Island.
Okay.
My youngest brother.
Okay. Your youngest brother survived?
We all survived. No, my youngest sister, my youngest brother who's alive, he lives in Long Island.
Okay. What's your date of birth?
9/10/24.
Was your family religious?
Yes, my father was religious, yeah. Not very religious, but religious.
Okay.
So,
After the war, after liberation, this is just in your memory. How old were you how old were you when the war started in 1939?
15.
And so, did you remember a lot of things from your childhood after the war, like
After the war?
memories from how your mother cooked, how your father did things? Did you have a lot of memories
Before the war? After
from before the war?
yeah.
Okay.
Like what?
Some of the women would recall recipes, or memories of going places. I'll get back to this question when we talk about things.
Yeah.
Like when we talk about your family, I'll ask you if you copied any traditions. So if you remember anything, you can answer later. Where were you liberated from?
Well, I was, we didn't liberate it, my town was chased out by the Germans. All the Jews were chased out.
Okay.
See, they got them together in a park, and they chased them out of town. We thought that the Russians were on the other side of the river, where they chased us. So, we didn't know what happened. So we slept over in the woods. And in the morning, we saw, older people than me. They went out on the street, and they saw a lot of wagons with people, with cows and horses,
Right.
going to the town.
What year was this?
This was in 1939.
So, okay, where were you during the war, basically?
During the war, I was in Russia.
So you spent were you in Siberia?
What?
In Siberia?
Not in Siberia. I wish they would send me right away to Siberia. This way we wouldn't have to run. We wound up in White Russia the first year, 1940.
But most of the time, I have to just move the camera a little bit, excuse me. Most of the time you were where? You spent all of the years in Russia?
Russia, yeah.
Okay.
All the years of war we spent in Russia from 1940 to 46.
Okay. So what happened? You're in Russia. How did you know the war ended?
Oh, we knew about the war ended because, they were talking about it. The Russians didn't keep no secret of it, see?
Okay.
And, it was a lot of people in the town where I was, in Magnitogorsk.
Okay.
There's in the Ural Mountains.
Now, were you living a normal life in Russia?
What do you mean by normal?
What
We
kind? When I say normal, were you scared all the time?
No, not scared. If you keep your mouth shut,
Okay.
you didn't involve it. And you weren't scared. I was working. In fact, when I came over there, in 1941, I became a foreman. I was 60 years old. They made me a foreman, and I had 10 kids working for me. 11 years old, the kids that didn't want to go to school, they put them to work.
Russian kids.
The Russian kids, see, they didn't want to, study in school. You
Right.
had to go to school, but if you didn't want to go to school, you had to go. So they put them in the factories to work. So they put them, so I became a foreman, and we were making. I was working in a factory, in a finery. They were making parts for machinery, for different kind of machinery, for different factories. Well, we didn't even know what we were making. Something for tanks, for all kinds of things. So, but the first thing we were making, they used to get machinery from America. A drill. You ever see a drill that you drills a hole in the mountains and goes down, and then they put dynamite, because the mountains where I was over there, they were all steel. They were making we had big factories over there. But I was working in a factory that Stalin liquidated before the Germans came in from the Ukraine. So, it was funny, if I tell you, can I tell you how this happens?
Sure.
We came to that, they wouldn't let us in, we were running away from the Germans when the war started in 1940. The war started, we were in White Russia.
Right.
So we were running and going deeper into Russia.
Okay.
Right? Now we came to that place. I had an uncle, my father's brother. He came to Russia right away in that town where we was in Magnitogorsk. They sent him right away when he went into Russia. We were to White Russia. Now, he didn't like the town over there. He says he lives in Mitzrayim. He's working too hard over there. So my father told him to come to White Russia before the war started in 1940. Because the war started with Germany, with Russia. Now he came to us, my father put him in the factory working. We were working in a textile factory in White Russia. Right? He lived with us. We had one room, 7 kids, my uncle there too, in the same room. Right? Now, he brought the family, his family came from Magnitogorsk to us, to White Russia, on Saturday. Sunday the war broke out. So right away we would start running. He said, we were running we were already deep into Russia. In a town, I don't remember, it's a big town. We used to go in on trains. We didn't care passenger trains, because the trains were all packed. We didn't have to buy no tickets. We just get into the trains in Russia and just go wherever they go deeper into Russia, just to get away from the Germans, right? Now we came to a town, Russian, they disconnect a couple of wagons with the displaced persons. They put them on a side. We didn't know what happened.
What year is this?
This was in 1940,
Still 1940.
right? No, 41, 1941, when the war with Russia started. So a guy, Russian guy comes over and says, if you want to get bread, you got to go to a certain point, to get bread. And he gave us coupons. And he also says, if you want to join the Polish army, you can go over there and get bread. You sign up to the army, and they'll send you to Tashkent. Now, my father didn't want to go to Tashkent. He says, I don't want to. My uncle, he didn't want to go back where he was over there, because over there was Mitzrayim. He worked too hard. so he wants to go to Tashkent. So he signed up to the army, and they went away. The whole family disappeared. They went away. We were going our way. My father says he don't care. He wants to go deep wherever how far he can get away.
Now so now you survived with your entire family
Yeah.
in this one town. You never left that one town.
After we got there, it took us until Christmas. By New Year's, we came to that town.
But you stayed in that one town
Yes,
till
from 1942. Yeah, from
Till-
1940 to 46.
and okay, so when did you leave this town?
In 1946.
Do you know
In
what
May.
In May 1946. Okay. When do you have a specific memory of being told that the war was over?
Oh yeah, everybody knew the war is over.
I'm asking if you remember specifically someone coming in and saying the war is over.
Oh
You.
yeah, so the Russians was
So,
sure, yeah.
So what happened? Someone came to your house and said the war is over?
No, you didn't have to come to the house and say the war is over.
You heard
We
it.
heard it, and you could have heard it all over, in the movies and wherever you went.
So
It was no secret.
Okay. Now, I'm not asking how your family felt. Do you remember, and you may or you may not, do you remember how you felt when you heard the war was over?
Over heavy, the war was over.
Oh.
I felt sure, but we didn't know that we were going to go back to Poland.
So what was your family discussing where to go?
Well, we weren't the only family. We had, there was thousands and thousands of people there in the town.
But what did your family discuss?
We didn't usually didn't discuss too much about that,
Okay.
We were waiting just to see what's going to happen.
So what decided for you, when did you leave this town?
In May 1946.
So you heard that the war was over in May 1946. No,
Yeah,
well, wait
no.
1 second. The war was over in 1945.
5, sure.
So you were there a year.
Sure.
You stayed 1 year.
Yeah, we stayed because we didn't know that they're going to let us out, that the Russians would let us out back to, Then all of a sudden, they decided to register the people who want to go back to Polish, we were Polish citizens.
So let me ask you a question. In this year, since the war was over, did you have any contact with anybody from your original town, or any contact from Jewish organizations, or any contact with anybody from outside?
No.
Okay. So when in 1946, who registered you? Russians, Poles, Jewish
No, there
organizations?
was an organization. There, there was an organization, and I don't even know who they are. You know, but even when we came to town, my father, you know, we went once for a meeting. That they kept everything, and you know,
So you
a
don't know if
Jewish.
it was a Jewish organization.
It must have been a Jewish. It must have been a Jewish organization, but we had to register if we want to go back. You know, where we came from.
Okay.
Because,
So tell me what you remember.
like,
You
what?
registered, and then what happened?
Well, a lot of had I registered, and what happened, you know, they didn't like I should go back because they needed me, and it was very important to them, you know, the work I was doing. So it was, you know, but they didn't say nothing, you
You
know.
mean you wanted to stay in Russia?
I didn't want to stay. I wouldn't leave the family to go behind me, you know, because my father and mother, you know, they wanted to go back, so I wouldn't stay.
So tell me how did you where did you on a day by day, May 1946, what was your first stop out of Russia? How you went by train?
Oh yeah, you know, we went. They had trains set up, you know, with thousands of people. You know, we not one train. We had, but our date was in May,
And
so
so
we had
there
a
was
big
they took thousands of it was all Jews? They took it.
true
So this
Jews, mostly Jews.
okay.
When I came, you know, where I was, most is Jews. I never saw any other than the Jews. I had a lot of Polacks too, but not by us.
So the town that you lived in Russia
Yeah.
was all Jews?
No, all Jews. So Russians, but the Jew, all the were Russian Jews, all that town was created by Stalin. You know, this is a new town. It was a new town in Russia. So all the Jews that were there, they all came, you know, in time from war.
Okay.
See?
Now let's go back to the train. They were moving, an organization was moving all the Jews back to Poland?
We don't know nothing about the organization moving. Just the Russians moved us.
Okay.
See? We were told that this and this day we're going to go back to Poland.
Okay.
So I don't remember how the hell, you know, don't even remember how we got to the train because the train was a couple of miles away.
Okay.
And in fact, you know, I had to go, I don't know if I can tell you that. It was so funny. My father didn't pay the rent for that month. We were already on the train. A policeman came and he says to my father that he has to go back, otherwise he wouldn't let him go back to Paul to pay the rent. So I didn't want my father to go, so I walked back to the town to pay the rent. You know,
You
and
almost
this was a couple of miles to walk. See, and I came, so we left. I think we left the same day. Yeah, we left that day. We were riding a month to get to Szczecin
okay.
from Russia. Took exactly a month, 30 days
And what
to get to Szczecin. But we went through a lot of things, and that we had, you know, tragedy on the train.
what happened?
Just, we didn't have, you know, the train used to stop sometimes 3-4 times a day. You know, we went a couple of miles, we stopped. Went a couple of miles to the other Russians. One time they stole the locomotive. You know, it was so funny, you know, somebody stole the locomotive, but because, you see, the Russians were going back and forth, you know, from Germany, and taking stuff from Germany, a lot of stuff, you know, and pulling back to Russia. So the Russian soldiers used to steal the locomotive and take the train back to Russia. So now the guys from us were traveling with us. They stole a lot of our bottle to take us back. We had fun. But what happened, you know, at one point we had a woman riding with us, and not in my wagon, in a separate way. But she was all alone, left over from the war, and she knew, no, she got some news that a son survived from the Holocaust. But what happened, you know, we didn't have no bed, you know, we had to go to the bathroom. We went behind it, below the train. When the train stopped, we went below the train, you know. She went onto the train, and the train was, you know, they didn't give no signals, nothing. The train started to move. She got killed.
Oh my God.
And you know, we tried to help her, you know, and tell us, lay in the middle and don't put your hands out, you know, on the rails. But she got scared. She put her hands, chopped her apart. So what kind of, you know? So it took us, you know, a month. We came to Poland. When we came to Szczecin.
Okay. And what happened at Chechen?
No, that's funny. We came at the station. They took us with trucks. With up and you know, trucks. They took us our train. They took us to our place. But it looks like just neighborhoods. Beautiful little one-family houses.
Was it a DP camp or was
No,
it was a neighborhood?
it was a brand new neighborhood. We didn't know what it is. They let us off in the middle of the highway, and it was already dark at night. You know, it must have been by 8 o'clock. Nobody knows what to do. We see houses, but it's dark in the houses. There's no lights. We see private, you know, like private little houses, one-family houses. Finally, we decided to look what's going on in the houses. Well, look, you see the houses are empty. The Germans, the Polacks, chased out all the Germans. And they left the houses empty. The Germans even took the furniture away and they saved it in special places. The houses were completely empty. You never saw something like it. Now, so everybody started to grab a house. So my father and we grabbed the house. Now we're running to look for our bed, where to sleep. We found the places where they hide it away, which carrying it, filling up the house with furniture. So we stayed over there. Nice home. My father and mother stayed maybe about a couple of months, 3 months.
Now, let me ask you some questions. How many families were living in this development?
Oh, well, maybe 100, but the whole train.
So could it be 1,000?
Yeah.
And was this like a little Jewish town, basically?
It became like a Jewish little town from Germans. Then we
What
found
was the
out.
name of the town?
I don't even remember the name of the town. But you believe it? It's right near Szczecin. It's like a suburb of Szczecin. It's like Brooklyn from New York. And this was a town built up because we found out they had a military camp over there. The Germans had a military camp there. So all the officers had their own private houses, beautiful little houses.
And you have no
with
idea?
Gardens.
No idea for the name?
The name, no. Actually, I don't remember the name. Because I stayed over there a couple of days. We went to town and I joined the kibbutz. And I was staying in Stolchen. There was another little town,
Stolchen.
Stolchen.
Okay. So this was a development of all Jews that was a little town, and Stolchen was another.
Also
Was,
another Jew. Also all Jews, the survivors.
and you called it a kibbutz. Why did you call it a kibbutz?
No, I joined the kibbutz. Not the town was a kibbutz. Yeah, we had only a kibbutz, a little community, but the
That was
town.
called
There's a
Stolchen.
lot of people living there.
All Jews.
Yeah, most Jews.
Okay. And you,
It's
how
all
long?
German. Yeah.
How long did your parents live in the?
About 3 months,
And
probably.
how
As
long-
long as I was, as long as when the kibbutz moved, I took my parents with me.
How? And you lived in Stolchen for 3 months.
Yeah, for a few months in the kibbutz
Okay. Now, why did you go to the kibbutz?
because I didn't want to go alone. We wanted to go to Israel.
Okay. Now,
See?
who did you make that decision by yourself?
Yeah, we were friends, but we came from Russia together with a bunch of guys. So in
Do
fact,
you-
they were joining different kibbutz. No, I joined the Shomer Atzair.
So you had a whole bunch of friends. Now, those friends, did they remain friends of yours when you came to America?
Yeah, but they're not alive no more.
Okay. But did they remain friends for life, basically, until they died?
Not close friends, but they were friends, all the way, yeah.
Until their death?
Yeah,
What were some of their names?
Goodman.
Goodman is one.
Goodman, I had, there were two brothers. In fact, one, wanted to marry my sister. See? And the other one, I got a lot, but I can't remember.
You have any
remember.
pictures from that period of time?
Huh?
Do you have any pictures from that period of time?
Got some, yeah.
All right, so maybe
but I don't have the pictures from Poland from before the war,
no.
but I got pictures from Russia.
How about from the kibbutz?
Yeah, from the kibbutz I
So
got.
maybe from the pictures we'll get some names.
But I doubt it. I can't remember.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now
I remember the faces, but I don't.
Okay. From the so there. What other kibbutz besides yours was there? What are some of the names of the other kibbutzes?
The kibbutzes.
Yeah.
They had a lot of kibbutz. They had the Betar. They had the Shomer Sair. They had Mizrahi.
You mean so in
There's a lot of
in-
different parties.
when the train
Yeah,
brought all of you from Russia
yeah,
and dumped you in this town,
yeah.
your parents went to this development for 3 months.
Yeah, they were saying it, but I had,
But-
I was there too.
But the
I
younger
was but I only stayed a couple of days.
but the younger people went to live
Kibbutz,
kibbutz
the young
style.
people, all the young people that didn't want to stay by themselves, they joined the kibbutz.
in. Was the kibbutz just a style of living, or were there heavy Zionist?
The Zionists.
Was it a heavy Zionist?
Yeah, sure. Heavy
All of
Zionists,
them?
all of them.
So all of you wanted.
Only some of them were more religious.
But all of them were oriented towards going to
Only
Israel.
all the kibbutz with only one goal, to go to Israel.
Okay. And this was thousands of people?
What?
Thousands of people.
Sure.
And this was June 1946, July, August 1946.
That's right.
What happened after this? Oh, all right, let me just ask some more questions. What was in just your kibbutz, tell me what was the, first let's talk about the housing. What was the housing? How did you live?
Oh, we lived in a building. The Polish government gave, supplied us with housing.
How many people slept in a room?
Oh, I slept, maybe 6, 7. It depends on the rooms. Even
Were they
smaller
all-
rooms, bigger rooms. But we never occupied the first floor. The first floor because for safety. the Polish bandits, we were afraid for them. So we always kept the, the, the first floor empty. We only, the dining room we had on the,
Okay.
the third floor.
So you occupied the second and third floor. Was there a fourth and fifth floor?
No, they had only, I think, 3 floors.
3 floors. So there would be 6 to 8 guys in a.
Yeah, we were a couple of, maybe 100 kids.
And there would be 6 to 8 and it was 3 floors.
Sure, so 6, 8,
So it would
10.
be like a cot? 6 to 8 cots on a floor?
Yeah.
Okay, where would you eat?
We had a separate dining room.
And
They made a separate dining room, and some kids, some girls were good with, cooking.
how about the boys?
And the food, we had to go to Szczecin for supplies to the Jewish agency. And, with that pushka,
Yeah.
2 kids, I used to go in, it must have been about 3-4 miles or something, or maybe more, who knows. We used to go once a week.
Was it UNRWA, Highest, the Joint? Do you remember which agency you got the food from?
I don't, it must have been the Joint Distribution Committee. See? It must have been from them.
Okay, so you went with the pushka?
But a pushcart, I was like,
What?
one was pushing, then one was the horse.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's how you got the food.
Yeah, that's how we went to town to
So
get
it-
the food. It was
so
a supply
it's-
house.
So it was co-ed. The kibbutz was co-ed. Men and women.
Oh yeah, sure,
So-
all young kids.
What was the social life like? Did you have dances, movies?
Not movies.
Not
no,
movies, okay.
we had gatherings together and we had telling stories, and enjoying ourselves, and we're all young kids.
Now, were most of you all from Russia with the same experience, or people from everywhere?
People from everywhere.
So
have to
some
be Russian.
people were surviving from. Were there survivors from concentration camps?
Probably, but they were nothing that I knew of.
Okay, but the social life was it every night getting together?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Were there couples getting together?
What do you mean by couple?
Young people getting together as a couple. Were there any marriages?
Lately, afterwards, not in the beginning, not in Szczecin. Then, we came. I think we got in Austria when we came to Austria.
No, just talking about the kibbutz.
Yeah, in the kibbutz.
No,
yeah.
no dating.
Yeah, yeah.
People-
People got together, were dating. Sure, it was girls and boys. So
Okay,
Oh,
so
sure.
there was some social life and dating.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Were you celebrating any Jewish holidays?
Sure.
You were only there for 3 months. So
Yeah.
was there a celebration of any Jewish holiday when you were there?
Not in the time in the kibbutz, I was there in Poland, in
Just-
Szczecin.
We're just talking about the kibbutz time. So the food is provided for. Was anybody working? Yeah, this 3 months.
Yeah, me.
What was any besides you? Were people
Like
encouraged to work?
we had, everybody had something to do, when you get together in a group. But I. There was, the Polacks, there was a guy over there that must have been a big, in the Polish army. I don't know if he was a general or something. And he got a farm. They gave him a farm. So he found an American Jeep. I don't know where he must have found something because he was in the army, right? and he wanted to cover up the to make a cover on the Jeep. So mine, what do you call him, my leader from the kibbutz sent me out with another guy. So this guy, he needed some work done, so that Pollock. So I was working there a couple of weeks, and I made him a cover for that Jeep from wood. Made the frame with the doors to go in, you know. Was it, you know, the American Jeeps?
Yeah.
They open. So he wanted to cover it up. So I walked over there, and the funny thing, you know, I can tell you, what do you call that? That food, you know, that green, I can't even remember, you know, if you believe it. I call it strukes. You know, it's what do you call it? You get the food that you eat, that vegetable. It's like long strips.
Green beans?
String beans. Comes for lunch, he gives me and my friend who were working together a plate of string beans. I never saw that in my life with my mother. So I got mad and I says to him, "What are you feeding me with grass?" So he says, "No, this is..." They were so funny.
So did he give you something else?
Yeah, he was a nice guy.
So now the kibbutz would send you to do jobs like this?
Oh yeah, if they, you know, if something came up because they needed something, you know, some money to
Survive.
yeah, but it was always something, you know, because we didn't have nothing. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're in 1946, and 3 months pass, and what makes you leave the kibbutz?
Oh, I didn't leave the kibbutz. No, you know, we supposed to, you know, we're supposed to go to Israel, right? Now they closed, you know, Szczecin was close to Berlin. It was maybe 12 miles or something. That's what they told me. They closed the border. We couldn't go there. We wanted to go to Berlin. And from Berlin, you know, we had, you know, that's what all the kibbutzim had in mind, you know, to get out of Poland. So we couldn't go there. So I don't know what happened. They decided to go to Oberschlesien, you know, near Czechoslovakia, to get there, so this way we can cross the border in Czechoslovakia. So we got to a city, what the hell, I can't remember that town. See, near Czechoslovakia. And we stayed over there. We told the Polacks that we were going, you know, to get, over there we get farms to work. We couldn't tell them that we were running away.
Now, how many of you went?
The whole kibbutz went.
Just your kibbutz, or
A lot of kibbutz, no.
You talking
well,
would you
we're
say
talking about not the same day, but every time, you
who
know,
organized this?
this was the Jewish agency organized, was very good organized. And the funny thing, you know, I can't tell you who organized it
Was
because I did.
Was it the bricha?
Huh?
Was it the bricha?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
organized, but not the Brecha. I don't know if it's just the Brecha organized it. I know about the Brecha, but there was a Jewish agency. You'd be surprised, you know, it's like a Jewish government working and everything was going tip top.
Okay. So everybody that came in the night that you were dropped into this town also went out?
Yeah.
Okay. So you went
but not
to
at the same time.
No, systematically. They went out to a town in Czechoslovakia.
No, not all of the Czechoslovakia. They went to different places. Some people went to Germany, you know, and And then from there, there's
Okay, you went to Czechoslovakia.
our kibbutz. I only know about my kibbutz. We went to close to Czechoslovakia. Then we crossed the border.
Okay.
See?
So let me get it straight. Everybody who came in left in different directions.
Sure.
A group of you went to check with you.
Yeah, my kibbutz.
Your kibbutz and your mother and father.
That's see, that's how we decided. We didn't want to go. We were not just my father, my family. We had kids from. We must have like 6, 7 families, so we didn't want to go with other families. So they, the leaders from our kibbutz decided, okay, we'll take the families. My brothers and sisters were in Germany, in a home, because we're all young kids. I was young. They were all young, 5, 6 years old, 7 years old. See? My older sister was 11, 12.
Okay, so the kibbutz plus some people.
Yeah.
You went to Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, but then we crossed the we stayed in that town, in Overschles. I forgot the town. I knew it all the time. See, when it comes, I forget
Maybe
in a
you'll
moment.
remember.
Maybe I'll remember later. We stayed over there about a week. It's not so easy to go to Czechoslovakia. We had to cross the border.
Okay.
And we had to, everything was organized when we can cross it. We had to.
You had to pay.
We had to speak, not me,
Right.
the leader. So, it came a day, we went at night, and they told us, tonight we're crossing the border. So we got trucks. I don't know where they took the trucks, where they come from. So the first thing, they took the older people, because, not to go late, because we were afraid, we had a lot of gangs, when they robbed us and killed people, especially the Jews. So they sent out, we left already late at night. We came close to the border, and they were hijacked one truck. They hijacked, and before we crossed the border, we had mine leader from the kibbutz. So we were staying in a house. He must have been a professor. He had a big library. And the leader from my kibbutz was very educated. And he didn't want nothing, only books. So I made him 5 suitcases from wood. And he piled it up with the books. And you pile up suitcases with books is heavier than gold.
That
Now, they hijacked that truck because we sent all that, wherever we had, with that truck. A couple of women got shot, not the hands, but not so bad. But what they took away, the suitcases with the books, they thought it's gold, that the Jews have taken the gold out of Poland. So they took away the suitcases with the books.
Okay.
They were so heavy that they thought it's gold, So now we're coming over there to the border. We can cross the border. So we were waiting, I think, a day. And then all of a sudden, they opened up the border, we crossed it over. So they gave us trains when we got to Vienna. When we stayed in a Rothschild house overnight. Then,
How many people do you think were with you?
with me, my kibbutz.
So was that 1,000?
My
1,000?
families and the kibbutz.
So 1,000 people?
No. Very, crossing the border with thousands of people.
No.
But every kibbutz was separate. They
So,
didn't go the same way.
Couple of hundred?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
a couple of hundred
So you stayed
people.
in Rothschild House, and then
We stayed in the Rothschild Hotel on one night, and then they took us by trucks, and they opened up a camp.
do you know the name of the camp?
I think it was, I don't know that camp. I know the other camp, this next camp, you know. So when we came to that camp, a guy
In Austria.
in Manaus, yeah, we came to that camp. A guy from the Jewish agency came from the Brecha.
Now, what date are we talking about?
We're
This
talking
is
about
still
the 1946.
But you're now September, October.
Oh yeah, it was already. Yeah, it must have been October already.
So it's after after Rosh Hashanah?
Oh yeah, we didn't know. You know, at that time we didn't even know about the holidays.
You skipped the holidays.
Skipped the holidays. Didn't even think about something like that. But when we came to that camp, a Jewish boy came and he says to our leaders, he says, "Listen, I just opened another camp, Werkscheid. I don't remember the other camp. And if you want to go over there, you're going to get more food and in better conditions." And it was a concentration camp.
Turned into a Jewish DP camp?
Yeah, they made it a DP camp.
They took the
And
Barbara.
over there was already thousands of people.
Now, hold on. Do you remember the name of the first camp?
I can't remember. No, it was only one night there.
So you were one night in a Jewish DP camp that you don't remember the name
No.
of, and then you went to
Werkscheid.
Werkscheid, and there were thousands of people there.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
Not right away. We were the first ones. And the next day, people were coming from all over.
now, was there any barbed wire on that?
I played what?
Barbed wire, or was it
No,
converted?
no barbed wire.
They had converted it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
How many? How long were you there?
we were there a couple of weeks, not too long.
Okay. So I'm
Not
going to
long.
ask you for a description.
Because, you know, see, we keep on moving because everybody was anxious to go to Israel.
All right, but
So, you know,
Let me
people
get
didn't
a-
stay in one place. See? They kept on moving, and, you know, and this was organized by the organizations. See?
all right. So let's talk about this camp.
Yeah.
How many of you slept in one? What were the living?
Oh, we slept. You were so funny. I can't tell you that. I don't know. It was proper.
In the
You know, we slept. You know, it was also small houses,
small
like
houses?
wooden buildings. You know, wooden buildings. You know, like. And
Like-
it was already cold. It was already cool outside. So and the Americans. The American. Well, must be the UNRWA or something. That time, you know, they're supposed to supply us with food and everything. See?
Now this is like for one family a house, or more than one family.
Well, it's not families. We were all single people, you know, so boys and girls, you know. So we
So how
were
many-
not like in a house. It must have been. We had one house, our kibbutz. We had one house
How many people?
by 100, maybe more than 100.
Oh, so these were big houses.
Yeah, but not big houses. What do you think?
No. This is like this, a house like this.
We used to put beds up, you know, one next to the
So
other. What do you
would-
think?
Like a house like
A
this.
house like this, we had we must have more than 100 people in a house
And
like that.
so a small
I
house.
don't think it was smaller.
Okay. And where'd you get your food from?
We went every day. Went to, you know, they opened up a kitchen. In fact, my father used to work in the Jewish kitchen. Was the chief.
In this camp?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they opened up another. My brother was also working in the kitchen, and we used to go. And the funny thing, was, can I tell you?
Sure.
They made a registration. The Americans, the Americans want to register how many people are in the camps. It was so funny because they only supplied people for a certain amount of people, say the food.
Yeah.
Now we could have people one day 2,000, the next day we're going to have 200, then one day we're going to have 5,000. But people were coming, and going, keep coming and going. That's why I call over here the same thing. So what happened, they made a registration. They wanted to see how many people are in the camps. So we used to stay in line and register. Stay in line and register. We jumped out from the window, get back in line, think of a different name.
Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that?
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
So we can get more food.
Oh, you're so
We used
funny.
we used to save the food for the people. So, they gave food for a certain amount of people in the camp. They knew this. Let's say they figured out that the camp takes in 1,000 people, so they gave food for 1,000 people. Sometimes we had 2,000, 3,000. Where do you get? You got to feed them. So we saved the food. See? It was so organized. See, this was in this camp. Now, from there, we moved to a different camp, Saalfelden,
Which
in
was
Austria, all in Austria. Saalfelden was so organized from the Jewish, from the leaders, from the Jewish leaders, like a Jewish government. You couldn't get to that camp without permission from an organization. If you came over there without a piece of paper, where you come from, they wouldn't let you in. Put you back. I used to put them back on the train. I used to work like a secret service over there, from the kibbutz. We had like over here. I had a little booth when you come in. They tell you where you're going to what. We had a little booth like that too. See, like it's closed in camp. And if you came, you could have been. If you came, we had a lot of women coming with kids. So we let them sleep over the night. They came at night. In the morning, we took them to the train and put them back on the train where they come from. If they didn't have a piece of paper, where they come from. So organized. And also, that camp, the Americans supplied for 1,000 people. It was a small camp. We had sometimes 5,000 people.
Now, how long were you at the second camp, the Saalfelden?
In the Saalfelden over there, we came. All is in 1946.
Okay.
It's all 1946.
Okay.
We came there before Christmas. We stayed over there till after Passover. See?
Okay, let me ask you some questions after Passover. So, a question about the first camp, the Vershat camp. Did you ever celebrate any marriage in that camp? Ever participate in any weddings that happened in that camp?
Yeah.
What was it like?
So they used to have there was a rabbi. We had come to think of it, when I was in Italy, we had a rabbi. I still even have a book.
Hold Italy. The first camp.
In the camp, we didn't know.
The first camp.
No.
Okay.
Because it was only a couple of days,
Okay.
so we didn't know.
How about the the second camp? I'm not Saalfelden.
In Saalfelden, yeah, I think so. Not me, in the kibbutz, but my father, the older people, used to, they used to celebrate,
How you had Passover there?
You know, but
What was Passover like in this camp? You were there for Passover.
we were there, we Passover, we had a big immigration before New Year's. We shipped out a lot of, you wouldn't believe it how this went on. We had an American general, a Jewish guy. He came, he says he wants to see how the Jews going to Israel. We were so organized. We used to take people, like 200, 300 people at night. The Salford was a little town, and they got a little station. The trains came in over there, they stopped maybe for 2-3 minutes. I don't know how all this was working, but it was working so perfectly that, we used to ship out 200-300 people in 3 minutes, would you believe it? On coal, on wood, wherever the train comes in, with the freight trains, not sometimes passenger trains, to push them in. I was working in that Secret Service. I used to go out with another guy before and see the street is clear, because we went late at night. If no police were to see us, because if you get, it goes a division of people, 200-300 people, and they're going to the train, and when they come to the train, we knew exactly where the train comes, so the leaders used to go in, because in the station they used to have an American soldiers over there watch, see? So they used to keep them occupied. And by the time you looked around, the people disappeared. So one day, an American big shot comes along. He wants to see how the Jews going to Israel. So they took him along, and they took him into the station. See, and he stays. He talks to the people, and he knows we had maybe 600 people walking with him together. And he's talking over there to the people. And the train came in for 2 minutes, and the people disappeared. He said, "What happened?" Couldn't believe it. Unbelievable. I'm telling you, it was so organized. See, so what happened at that time,
Now, where were those people being sent to?
to Italy. And they had to, somehow they go by train. They went to a certain place. We had to cross over. You had the English border, the French border. A lot of times, especially the French used to catch a lot of the people, walking, because they had to walk the Alps. Because they used to, when they came back to the camp, they used to give them packets of food with wine, we were so beautiful organized, See? So they knew that they'll catch a greenhorn, they'll come back, they'll get a pack. See?
Okay, so you people in this camp, Passover. You gave me
So
New Year's Eve.
we were only, one Passover there.
Yeah.
The first 1940.
7.
47, yeah, 47. So before the Passover, the camp became all empty. Only even our kibbutz left. Only our 5 or 6 families, because they didn't want to take us, because of the fathers and mothers, we had to cross the Alps. We had to walk. See, they took with the trucks at a certain point to the Alps, and then we had to cross the Alps. We had to make it a certain time, and before the Italian border, there was a truck waiting for us. See, to make it. So the bracha, walking like with canes, and how do you call the guy with the takes care of the cows, of the sheep or the cows? Keep going, and we couldn't take nothing with us. So then when they shipped up all the people, before us, and we were left, didn't want to take the old people because the snow was too high. They were afraid they wouldn't be able to walk on the Alps. So we're waiting. So we were left, the 6 families house in camp, empty camp. Now, the Americans, they had an office in camp, but they didn't sleep there. They had their quarters in the city, in the little town there in the Southfield. So in the morning they come to camp and they see no people because you have to, if you have a couple of thousand people, you see the people moving like in Times Square. People were not sitting in the house, you didn't have a chair to sit there. Only see, so now. So they decided to make accounting. They want to count how many people are left at the camp. Would you believe that when we were maybe, how many were 5 families? The kids, the kids weren't there. My father, the kids were already in Germany that time. We must be 30, 40 people. From these 40 people, they counted up maybe 1,000. We were jumping from one room to the other. But I'm telling you, it was so organized, unbelievable. The leaders were walking with them soldiers, so by the time they walked into the other room, we were sitting already in the other room. And they kept counting the same people.
But they didn't realize they were counting the same people?
No.
How is that possible?
So, you tell me.
Did you change your face? Hats?
I don't know. Somehow we worked out. Now we said so, but they supposed to supply for 1,000 people food, right? So all that food we saved. We can eat up.
Wait a minute. You're telling me one stupid officer counted the same faces?
Yes, right.
300 times?
You better believe it. It's unbelievable. Don't ask me how it was, but it's happened. See? I told you before, in that camp also, we had the same thing. I had maybe 5 names, and I had 5 cards to get food. See?
Now, did everybody have as good a sense of humor as you? Or
well, we didn't have no sense of humor at that time, like
was this humor or was this
just going for survival?
It was survival.
We didn't think about America at that time.
What was it that made you do all this?
What?
Shift rooms, stand on lines 5 times.
We had to. We had to preserve that stuff. The food. We had to preserve because people were coming in, from different places. Because this was the camp from there. This was a camp that, a transit camp.
But you were taking...
From there, you're supposed to go to Israel.
Right. So you were taking care of people that you didn't even know.
It's not me. I was just a worker.
Okay. But you...
I was no leader.
But
I was told to do that.
But you were willing.
I had to, you got to do something. Everybody had to do something. Everybody, there's nobody sitting down.
Was everybody like you, doing everything they were told to do?
They had to. Well, you had, you got wise guys that, they finagle different things.
But were most people like you?
Most, sure. Otherwise it wouldn't work.
Okay. In the second, so the 30 families were left. Was there a Passover?
So you should see, we made a Passover. We made a Passover. We had so much food, we didn't know what to do with it. Because, we saved the food. But still, we never had so much food before that we had for this Passover. So we made all the gang what we were left over, we made our own Passover.
Okay. Now, how did you leave? Let me ask you some questions. When you had the 1,000 people there at the second camp, did you have a social life in this second camp? What did you do in the evenings?
Only the kibbutz was always organized something, we had, they were telling stories and speeches and, like a group of people get together, And,
Every night?
Yeah, mostly every night.
And it's, again, and during the day, were you working?
In the day, yeah.
Did they?
See, I was working, watching, you just walked in and the little booth over there was working, the little booth over there let you in and let you out.
Okay.
I always had to,
When-
I always like to work, to do something.
When did you leave? So we're talking
After
April.
festival, like in April.
April 1947.
Yeah, we just
Tell me how you-
they decided to let us walk through the Alps.
Tell me how this happened.
So they gave us a truck. We went up to a certain point. They let us out, and we were walking through the Alps a whole night. Now we're coming. Not only you must have a couple. Must have been more people there from different places. I don't know what happened, because they had a lot of trucks came in, rolling around. When we came to the other point, by Italy. But what happened? The truck we supposed to go in broke down. So the guy from the Brecha took us down. It wasn't far, it was a little railroad station. And he bought us tickets and to Milan. See? When we come into Milan, everybody was wearing 3 pairs of pants because you couldn't carry no packages. So you weren't allowed even to do that, but everybody wanted to take, to have something to change over. So they used to put on 3-4 shirts, 3 pairs of pants, We came in Milan, and the people look at us, picked up. It was already warm. In Italy, it was warm. So we got to that also was a Rothschild house. They took us to a Rothschild house over there. It was a big, they had a synagogue over there. It's a big, it's not one house. It's like a big community.
So how many people would you say?
Oh, we were there, not only us. It must have been 1,000 people there.
And you stayed?
We stayed in the house of a couple of days.
And then where'd you
Then
go?
we went to the Adriatic.
To a Jewish DP camp.
Yeah,
And so this is April 1947.
yeah.
How long were you there for?
In that camp, a year.
Okay. So
Till the next Passover.
Okay, so let's. What was your housing in this camp?
The camp was a military camp.
Okay.
With big buildings. And so every building must have maybe 300-400 people. So the building was open. There's no doors. There's like a room, but then open. So in every room we were sleeping maybe 30-40 people.
Okay.
If you had to go to the bathroom at night, you had to jump over the
All the people.
because we were all close together.
All right. How food was central?
Food, we get a certain amount of food. And we had a kitchen.
Was
Then
it
the-
rations?
No, this was already in Italy. In Italy,
Yeah.
I'm talking about Italy, is yeah, it's Russian. You go in the morning to the kitchen, you get coffee with a piece of bread, and then you go for I don't know if I had lunch or dinner, just dinner. And then if you had some money, you cooked yourself. So you didn't have enough wood, so they used to take the boxes from the oranges in Italy. And chop them apart and put together a couple of bricks and cook outside if you had money. If you so some people had relatives in America, so they used to send them some money, so they had money to buy food. If they, otherwise, we had a regular kitchen, and then we had a strictly kosher kitchen. I told you, my father was the chief of the kosher kitchen. Wherever came, he was the chief of the kosher kitchen.
Now, in this, were there only Jews in this camp? Was this all a Jewish GP camp?
Yeah.
And who ran
99.
the camp?
Who ran?
Was it
Was a Jewish
like a Jewish committee?
yeah committee.
And did they figure out like a little police or security within the camp?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, also, every camp had it also. You couldn't walk in like this, you gotta,
And did they figure out jobs within the camp for people?
there's no jobs. No job.
Not when I say jobs, so there's no tailor. There was no.
No.
Nothing
no,
like that.
No, not
Was
like
there was there a place for a social life in the, like a hall for a social life in the camp? No
that. Nothing
dances.
that I know. No.
No,
No.
movie theater in the camp.
No, over there. Oh, yeah, we had a movie theater in the camp. It was run by a Jewish people.
So
By the Romanian Jews.
How often did you go to the movies?
But not too often. But we went. They made a movie. But people, you could go out. People used to. If you had money, you got to. I went once. I went to the opera, in La Scala.
So there was an opera house in Milan.
Oh yeah, oh Milan is a beautiful, beautiful town.
Was it very common for people to go into town and go
Oh
out?
yeah, people would, if you were free, nobody held you there,
So
you kid.
did people start to get jobs outside in the town?
I guess I don't, nothing that I know of, but what kind of town you really can in Italy, especially, there's always not too many jobs there.
But do you know or not know? Don't know.
Nothing. I really. No
How
jobs.
did people have money?
The only money they had is from the people. I told you, they used to get from America. We had relatives, like my mother-in-law. She had over here cousins, so she used to have all the time. They used to send her $5.
So what was your typical day in this camp like? If you didn't work,
I worked. We came to that camp in Milano, and I was there, like I don't know, a month or something. They opened up the art school. So they opened up a school for dental technicians.
okay.
So we went over there. We were